Hey girl, my name is Anel. Welcome to the Brave in Her podcast, where we inspire, empower, and motivate by sharing our stories of bravery. I strongly believe that by sharing our stories, we open ourselves to healing, but also serve to give hope and inspiration to those who are dealing with a tough situation. We will talk about all topics under the sun. Now let's hear your stories of bravery. Hey girl, thank you so much for being here for today's episode. In today's episode, we have my friend Leslie Martinez. She's a wife, mom of 2 boys, and owner of Your Joyful Order and Joyful Darkroom. Hey Leslie, how are you?
Hey girl, hey now, thank you. Yes, I'm doing great.
So today you're here to talk to us about setting goals. But before that, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, as you said, I am a wife, actually going on 20 years. My husband and I celebrate 20 years in 2021. I have 2 boys and I own my own retail business, and I have been a retailer for the past 5 years now. I am a former teacher. I used to work solely with kids for about 21 years, and I was last in the classroom with kids for the last kind of 5 years before I transitioned into starting my own business. I love football. I love all things Disney, and I love inspiring others and motivating them to just be their best self.
Yeah, and for setting goals, I know you have a workshop, and I attended one of your workshops earlier in 2020, and I loved it. So I wanted for you to come to the podcast and share the knowledge that you have about setting goals. And you also do these kind of workshops for teenagers in high school.
Yes, I have actually had the privilege to go into the local high schools in my area. Actually, I should say high school. There's one school that I have been going to, and I was able to teach this the last couple of years to the graduating seniors. I was able to go in and talk to them about goal setting, about basically taking the next steps on their future and how they needed to start making choices for themselves and setting goals of their dreams and their desires and starting to prepare themselves for success.
That's great. I think that's something that we should teach our teenagers or even younger. Like this past weekend, I was trying to teach my stepdaughter. She's only 11, and I was trying to teach her how to set goals and, I guess be excited for the future, especially,
Yes.
With what's going on right now.
Yes, for sure.
So why is it important to set goals?
I think it is so important. There was a saying that I had heard years ago that just really stuck with me into realizing how important it is for you to set goals. And it's basically by not setting goals, you are giving away your own power. By not having goals or dreams or desires for yourself, you are giving away that power to control your life and your destiny, basically. I'm a very faithful and spiritual person, so I do put my trust and create goals that are surrounded about my purpose and what I really feel God placed in my heart. So when I set goals, I spend a lot of time praying and time with God and really aligning myself and knowing that, hey, is this really the direction that God wants me to go? Ultimately, God has the end result of whatever goal it is that I'm setting out for me. But if I don't take the first step in moving forward to accomplishing a goal, I'm never going to know if that's the direction that I'm supposed to go in or not. So setting goals is so important, just for you to have a vision for yourself. When we have a vision and a purpose, we truly are able to live a joyful life, you know, and knowing that, hey, I'm fulfilling my purpose of what God had for me. I am fulfilling my destiny. I am making a difference. I am pursuing what it is that I was here on this earth to do. And when you can lay out your goals, it is an opportunity for you to do and fulfill what God brought you here for.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that. So, okay, so you just told us why it's important to set goals. How do we start setting those goals? Like, how do we know what to set?
Well, first off, when you are seeking out to achieve like life's goals, it isn't so much always about the achievement of the goal. It really is about the experience of reaching a dream and just becoming a better person along the way. So there are lots of goals that I personally have set in my life that I have failed at. I didn't reach them. But because I went along the path of pursuing that goal, I learned so much. I matured. I gained wisdom. I gained knowledge that I wouldn't have if I didn't go down that route. And when you are setting goals for yourself, it's not always about achieving them. It's not always about, um, the the end result. It's not about the medal or the trophy, so to say. It's about the race. It's about the journey. And I think that's what's so important. And it is a lot of times people just don't set goals because they think, well, I'm just going to fail anyways. Well, yeah, like there's a good 50-50 chance that you're going to fail at a goal. But it's not about whether you get the end result or not. It's the journey in between,
Yeah.
It's just like if you seek out to run a marathon, so to say, a lot of times the reward so much isn't that piece of metal. It's not the bib, it's not the metal that you hang over your dresser or, wherever it is. It's the whole journey. It's the physical part that you endured. It's the mental strain, the mental challenge that you accomplished. Like, you're not going to carry that medal around all the time because it's not about that piece. It's not about that thing. It's what you gained on the inside that counts. And it doesn't matter if you finished a marathon in 2 hours or 8 hours. Like, you finished, you did it. The goal was to finish a marathon. The goal wasn't give me the medal. So a lot of times people just think, well, I'm going to fail. So they just don't pursue it. You gain so much knowledge and wisdom along the journey that just makes you such a better person.
Yeah, I like that. What you're saying, that it can take you 4 hours or it could take you 8 hours, but the point is that you finished it. And the same thing about goals. This is how I feel. Even if I set them up for this year, and if it's truly in my heart, even though if I don't accomplish it this year, it's still the goal is still there, and I could still be working on it for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And as long as at some point I get to it and just keep working. And it, like how you're saying it's not when, I guess when you get there, but what you've learned along the way. So at the end of the day, or at the end of the journey, what doesn't matter is like the gold medal, how you said it, but it matters that you're stronger at the end.
Yes, for sure. I think a lot of people get discouraged also because of the fear of failure. They just think, well, I'm not going to do it in this time frame or whatnot. I have set goals for myself that literally have taken me like 5 years to accomplish. It's like, and every year, you kind of start off, well, this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year. And then things happen, life happens, maybe it's just not the right season. Another thing that you need to look at too is that when you set goals for yourself, sometimes when you're pursuing those goals, you realize, what, this maybe isn't for me. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. That doesn't mean that you failed. That just means that you need to redirect your path. You need to be able to, tell yourself, okay, look, I got to this place. I gained knowledge. I gained wisdom getting here, but this isn't for me. God sets you on different paths. I was teaching for many years. I was working with kids. My education and background is all in working with youth and, kids. I would lead worship and, in church. I was a children's pastor for years, leading and teaching worship classes for like 3 and 4 year olds and teaching in the classroom. And I just thought that my, career was going to be focused around children. God changed my path. God just put it on my heart. I started, a retail business and opened an online boutique, and it turned into a ministry opportunity to serve women. And I just took what I had learned, in teaching 3 and 4 year olds, and teaching, first graders, second graders, in like classroom settings. I took my skills and applied it to teaching women how to strive for more, how to achieve for more. When you think about it, everybody has goals that they set. If you work for an employer, you have goals that you have to meet in your work area. As the teacher, our whole basis is goal setting. Teachers or people think teachers get summers off. No, we don't get summers off. What we do during the summer is we plan an entire year of curriculum to teach the kids. So being that I was in a structured goal setting career for so long, I just took those skills that I learned. Like I had to plan an entire curriculum for a student to get them from point A to point Z, basically in an academic year. So you have to set mile markers along the route. We all have goals, in those areas. So I had to take what I did for my students and I had to apply it to my own life. And a lot of times we don't take those structures of goal setting in our workplace and we don't apply them to our personal life. And you just need to learn to combine the skills of goal setting that you maybe have in your workplace into your personal life and strive to achieve those goals, and don't be fearful of failure because failure is okay. You just got to get back up and pick yourself up and keep going. And sometimes you might need to change direction and you just need to be flexible with your goals.
Yeah. So you're talking about not to be afraid of failing, because in the process of trying to achieve your goals, you're going to fail, and that's just the honest truth. It just takes many failures, right, to learn and learn from your mistakes and grow. Yes. But when setting goals, like how do you identify your why and the how? Like why are you setting these goals and how to achieve them?
I'm so glad you asked that, Anel, because that I think is a very important part. That's like step one of setting your goals. Is before you begin to set your goals for yourself, you have to get to the root of your why. You have to be able to know why am I doing this, and what is it that lights my heart on fire to make me want to pursue this goal. So like, for example, I'm just going to give a generic example out there. Say that one of your goals is to get a promotion at work. Okay. Well, why do you want to get a promotion at work? Well, because you want to make more money. Okay, that's great. Why do you want to make more money? Because you have another maybe goal, like you want to buy a bigger home. Okay, that's great. We all would love to have a big home, but why do you want a big home? Because you want to maybe move your family all together under one home. Maybe you want to bring your mom or your sister in, or, elderly parents that might need assistance. So then at the end of the day, your goal necessarily isn't about a promotion. Your goal is that you want your family to be living happily ever after under one roof, So your why becomes not, I need a promotion, I need more money, I need a bigger house. Your goal becomes, I want my family to be living happily ever after under one roof. I want to be able to provide for my family. I want to be able to provide for my parents as they age. So you need to get to the root of what your goals are. So if your goal, like I said, was to get a promotion, that's not what's going to stir your heart on fire. What's going to stir your heart on fire is your why, which is your family. So when you set your goals, you know, you want to keep asking yourself why, and get to that root where you know what it is that's going to light your heart on fire. I went through this process of someone challenging me, you know, like, why do you want to start your own business? You know, it was like, well, I want to have control of my income. I want to, you know, this. And once they, you know, they kept asking me why, and you're like, literally, I had someone in my face asking me why. I was like ready to cry because I'm like, I don't know. But they got the why out of me. And my why is to live joyfully with no regrets. At the end of the day, everything that I am doing for my family comes that I want to give my kids opportunities and my family opportunities that nobody else can give. And I don't want to have regrets. I don't want to have regrets telling my kids, you know, no, you can't do this, or no, you can't do that. And it's not just about like finances, it's opportunities, you know, that are just going to allow us to live joyfully, to have fun, to be flexible. Running my own business allows me to have that flexibility to be there for my kids. I have never missed a football game for my kid. I've never missed a wrestling meet for my kid. I've never missed any classroom party or, you know, anything for my kid because I was running my own business and I was on my own time. I didn't have regrets of missing any moment of my kids growing up. And I want to know at the end of the day that my boys knew that I was there for everything. I can tell you, I have never missed a sporting event for any of my kids. And having that flexibility to do that, that's my why, is living joyfully with no regrets. I don't want to regret that I ever had to miss something of my kids because I was tied up in a classroom or I was, you know, tied up doing what it is. So that's where you have to get to the why of what stirs your heart on fire to get you going and moving to pursue your goals.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, that's really great. And also I think knowing your why and having like a visual of it, or even just writing it down, I think that will help you remind yourself when you're feeling down, when you're feeling insecure, or that you're, you know, feeling like a failure, like you're not accomplishing anything. Just remembering your why will keep you motivated.
Yes. I mean, I haven't memorized, obviously. It has me going every day, but it wakes you up. It gets you out of bed in the morning. It really does. On those days that you're struggling and you maybe feel like a failure, you feel like things are rough, and 2020 was rough. 2020 was very rough. It was hard to wake up. It was hard to pursue your goals. It was hard to pursue your goals in a year that you just didn't know what was happening. I had every goal that I had set for last year, I did not accomplish it. I will be completely honest, because I couldn't. I had to pivot last year, and I actually winded up accomplishing goals that I didn't even write down on my vision board. I didn't write down, as goals that were going to be accomplished last year. I just had to pivot. So your why just keeps you connected to just keep going.
Yeah. And so once you have your why, how do you set not how do you set these goals, but how do you accomplish these goals? So you set the goals, you know your why. How do you accomplish the goals?
So one thing that I do is like, from your why, from there, you want to kind of categorize your goals. So some of the categories that I personally put into place for my own goals. Also, what I teach in my workshops is you categorize them into like your family, career, your spiritual, financial, health or fitness, travel, personal growth. So there's all kinds of different categories that you can personalize or put your goals into, so to say. So, like for instance, under the category of family, what's a goal that you would have for your family? What is a goal that you have for your career? For your finances, maybe you want to pay off a specific credit card within the year. Your health and fitness, maybe you want to start running a marathon. Maybe you want to lose a specific amount of weight. So you just need to remember that the root of your why is what is going to help you to actually write these goals. So if your goal or if your why is to, like I said, my why is to live joyfully with no regrets. So for me, when I go to like the health and fitness area, it's like, well, I don't necessarily have a goal, say to lose weight, but my goal may be last year I had a goal to run a 5K. And it wasn't because I wanted to lose weight. It wasn't because I wanted to become a runner or anything. I just wanted to do something challenging for myself from start to finish. And that was like something that I did last year. So you take those categories, and within it, you focus on the goals that you want under those categories.
So in your workshops, you talk about SMART goals, and how to accomplish, obviously the goals that you're setting. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. So SMART goals is just a really easy way, I think, to help us kind of break our goals down, and looking at a easy way to remember, hey, SMART goals. S stands for specific, M is measurable, A is achievable, and then R is realistic, and T is time framed. And I'll kind of get into each of those a little bit, but it's a great acronym and an easy way to help you remember how to basically write your goals out. So you want your goals to be specific, okay? So for instance, if say that under the category of health or fitness, one of your goals was get healthy. That's not specific. You need to be very specific. Well, what does get healthy look for you? That's where I was giving that example of me running a 5K. So for me, my health goal was run a 5K by this date. Say you have a goal of wanting to lose weight. Well, how many pounds? And then you go through like by what date? Okay. So you want to be very specific and clear on your goals. The M is for measurable. You have to be able to measure your goal. Okay. So for instance, losing weight. Well, what exactly is that? Are you going to aim for 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 5 pounds? It needs to be measurable. For me, a 5K was measurable. I had to run 3.11 miles by my race date. That was it. It was measurable. Okay. A is achievable. This is one thing that I really want to encourage people, because we all have like crazy, ridiculous goals and dreams. And I am all for telling people, shoot for the stars, go for it, shoot for the stars. But you need to do stuff that is achievable for yourself, which is within your ability also, because then you're going to keep setting yourself up for failure. Now, you also want to know that you're going to pursue goals that you could possibly achieve, so you don't want to be scared of it. So like, for example, if I had a voice, I would have said, I want to become a singer. I love music. I love to sing and dance. God did not bless me with a voice to sing. Okay. So I could easily set a goal and say, oh, I want to become a singer. It's not achievable. I do not have a voice to become a singer. If you're 40 years old, your goal cannot be, I want to play, in the NFL. I'm sorry, your time has passed. No one is going to put a 40-year-old on an NFL team. So you want to make sure that your goal is achievable. Okay, next we go to the R, which is realistic. And those kind of go hand in hand. You're achievable and you're realistic. Okay. Now, for instance, my son, my older son, he plays football. He has been playing football since he was in 4th grade. Okay. He's in high school now. He has 2 years left in high school. His dream is to get recruited for college and possibly somehow get into the NFL. It's realistic for him. It is, because he's been playing since he's 4 years old. He's been a starter every year since he was 4 years old. He is passionate. He knows the game. Now, if I wanted to come and say, I love football, I absolutely love football, but the reality of me becoming a football player, not there. Okay. So you want something that is achievable and realistic. And then last, that T is for time frame. You need to set yourself a time, give yourself a specific date, and you want to work backwards from that date. Okay. So I'm going to give the example. Back in February of 2020, I had set a goal to run a 5K. I had looked around at local 5Ks that I could take part in, and there was one in April. So I took that April date and I worked backwards and looked at, okay, is this something specific that I want to do? Yes, it's running a 5K. Is it measurable? Yes, I have to run 3.11 hours, 3.11 miles within a certain date. Okay. Is it achievable? Yes, I can do it. I am not a runner, but physically there is no disability that I have that would cause me to not be able to do this. Is it realistic? Yes. I wasn't running a 5K, to be like the best runner with the best time or anything. I just wanted to be able to finish it and say, hey, I ran 3.11 miles without stopping, giving up, or anything. Time frame, yes, I had a specific date that my race was, set out to do. So I paid the registration fee. I signed up for it and I said, okay, I'm committed to doing this. I downloaded an app. I told them, hey, or the app asked for the date of my race. And it basically created a whole plan for me. Like, it set the goals for myself. So I was working out or running 3 times a week. It started off where you run and walk 1 mile, and it progressed. It allowed me to work my way up to the date to be where I was full on running. So the pandemic hit, the race didn't happen, but my goal didn't stop. So I kept training, and I didn't have a big race where I got a bib and a medal and there was tons of people cheering for me along the route. I just went and said, you know what, it's race day. I'm still going to run it. I went out and ran by myself, and I got a cool little, pat on the back for myself. Because the goal was not for the medal or the bib. The goal was just to say that I did it. And I did it. So I didn't let the pandemic or not having the event stop me from pursuing my goal. So that's where you have to remember, like, the SMART goal acronym is just the best way for you to write out your goals. You need to ask yourself, is this specific? Is it measurable? Is it achievable? Is it realistic? And is it time framed?
And I think you mentioned something that's also very important, and I just wanted to bring that up. Like in the example that you gave about the marathon, that you said, okay, I want to run a 5K marathon. And then you broke it down into pieces, right? Into, okay, how many miles do I have to run a day to get to that point where I can run a 5K without having any, trouble.
Yeah.
Because you can't just go in and, not train for it and run the marathon. So in the same way, when we're setting goals, yeah, it's great to set them goals, but what are you going to do about getting there? So setting those mini goals.
Yes. I think a big reason why people don't set goals, because when they think about it, like, say someone had a goal of running a full marathon, 26.2 miles. You think, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to run 26.2 miles, because they look at the end result. Like, what is the end result? People that might set a goal of getting out of debt, maybe they're, I don't know, $10,000 in debt. And they're like, wow, $10,000, that's a lot of money. There's no way that I'm going to be able to pay that off by a specific date or anything, because you're looking at the end result. When you are able to break a goal down into tiny milestones, into tiny little bite-sized chunks, it becomes reality. It becomes more achievable. So that's why you want to create the end result, and then you work your way backwards. Okay. So if it's a specific date that you're looking to do something, work your way backwards. Well, how many days do you have from here to there to achieve that goal? And then break it down. Let's say, for instance, if you had a financial goal that by the end of 2021, you wanted to save, I don't know, say $1,000. Okay. Well, break it down. How many days do you have? There's 365 days in a year. How much money do you need to save each day or each month? So everything is all about setting milestones. When you're running a 5K, like I ran the 5K and I had my phone, my little app, and I had a coach trainer. I paid for an app that she talked to me along the route. And she basically told me, like, okay, you reached 1 mile, you reached your 1 mile mark. marker. Go ahead and take a break right here. Just walk it out as I was doing the training. So she walked me out and was like, hey, kudos, you did a great job. You're doing it. A lot of times we need those mile markers to say, hey, look how far I've come. When you're running a marathon, like an actual race marathon. Now, I have run a half marathon years ago too. And when you're running in a race, you see those mile markers all along the way, mile 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way, half mile, 11 miles, or 13.1 miles, sorry, you are going and you're like, okay, I got 1 down, I got 2 down, I got 3. And then by the end of the race, you see that 13.1 mile marker and you're like, oh my gosh, I did it. But it's just setting those mile markers in your goals and breaking it down so that you are able to achieve them step by step.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're in the beginning of 2021, right? And 2020, many people set goals at the beginning, and in your case, you said you didn't accomplish those goals, but you were able to accomplish other goals. But I feel like we're still in the same kind of uncertainty right now, starting 2021. What advice would you give to that woman who is listening and is unsure in setting goals or not, setting them or not for 2021?
Still do them. That is the best thing that I can tell you. Now, there are goals. Last year, we had some goals to travel internationally as a family. That didn't happen. I can tell you for 2021, if you have some serious goals of traveling, that might not be a goal that you want to set for this year. That might be something that you can pursue into next year. But if you have personal goals that you want to set for yourself, financial goals, career goals, personal growth goals, you can still do them in 2021. Like, you might just have to pivot a little bit how you do it. I had a lot of goals for my business last year in 2020. Okay. The pandemic hit first quarter for us. First quarter hit, and I was just like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Those goals, there were certain goals that I had that, yes, it kind of shifted the direction that I was going in, and it just delayed it a little bit more. But then I was able to say, you know what? We'll just have to pivot. I have to look at how I can run my business differently. We were looking to do a lot of kind of vendor events, in-person events, really connecting with our customers in person, because that is where I always found success in doing in-home events and vendor events, because I love to be, I'm a very social person. I love to be one-on-one with people and interacting with them. All those events went away last year. So I had to really hit heavy on the online part of it. And our business just shifted. There's other opportunities that came around, and because we had more time. So we had to take advantage of the season and look and say, okay, these goals are not going to happen this year, but what can we make happen this year? We launched a new business. We never had the time to do some of the things that we were able to do this year because we were so busy with our boys, sports, activities that took us out of the home. So being that we were confined to our home, we were able to produce and create things that we wouldn't have been able to do. So there were things that I thought were kind of years out that we were able to create because we were stuck at home and we were given the gift of time, really. So it's just about shifting and pivoting your goals in a way to be flexible. I think that's the biggest thing that you have to do and know, is that you have to have flexibility in those goals. If they don't happen this year, that's okay. Roll them over to next year. If they don't happen next year, it's okay. Keep going and keep going. Or sometimes if that goal, you just realize, you know what, it's not something that I want to keep pursuing, just cross it off your list and just create a new goal. Last year, a lot of the goals that didn't happen, typically I would roll them over into the next year, but I didn't. I actually decided, you know what, I think I'm going in a different direction this year, and I'm going to create completely different goals of what I had sought out for last year. So this year looks totally different in my goals. I had a lot of financial based goals last year. This year, I am looking more at how can I be of service to people rather than collecting money. So this year, my goals are more service based towards reaching more people and impacting them differently rather than bringing in sales.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, it's a different perspective, right? After 2020 hit and the pandemic hit, and a lot of us have a different perspective.
Yes.
Our mindset changed a little bit. For me, 2020, I did set goals and I was able to accomplish most of them. But because of what you said, we were able to, we were given that gift of time, because before, and if the pandemic didn't hit before, like I didn't have the time. I just didn't have the time to, accomplish any goals.
Yes.
So yeah, just think about, your current situation and just be grateful for what, your current situation and what you have, and, just work with that.
Exactly. It's all about the season that you're in. God gave us a different opportunity this last year to have more time. I really do look at it as, our family has been safe. We all have been healthy. It has been getting a little closer to home, but we were able to do things that we never would have had the opportunity to do. So it really is, it's like the whole turning, lemons into lemonade kind of thing. We were stuck at home, but look at what we were able to do that year. When my family and we set goals with our kids, and actually just these last few days, since we're still fresh in the new year, we've been doing it with our boys. And as we sat down and we're setting goals as a family, one of our goals is always, where are we going to travel this year? And we wanted to travel internationally again, since we didn't get to do it last year. And my boys are like, well, are we going to be able to do that? And I'm like, we're still going to write it down. It may not be this year, but we're going to keep it there, because we're going to keep it as a vision for us. We're going to keep it as something that we still want to pursue. It may not happen in 2020. It's okay. But we can still keep saving. And then that means that, hey, we can have an even better experience, because we're putting more money towards it come the time when it is safe for us to travel internationally. My boys have never traveled internationally. So my husband and I traveled internationally before, we had them. They haven't had the opportunity. We just wanted to wait till they were a specific age. So they have that like travel bug to get their passport and all that. And I even told them, I said, look, we're going to get our passports by the end of March. Like by March, we're still going to get our passport. We are still going to be ready to travel when the opportunity comes. So it's pivoting. It's pivoting. More than likely, we're not going to travel internationally, but guess what? We got our passports and we have extra money saved so that when it's time to go, we're ready.
Yeah, we did the same thing. We sat down as a family and set 3 goals. And of course, one of them was to travel. It's not internationally, but it's domestic. It's a domestic travel. My stepdaughter really, really wants to go to New York, because my husband and I were always talking about it. And so she wants to go to New York. So I don't think that might happen, maybe towards the end of the year, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, something to just look forward to.
Exactly.
Be excited about it.
Be excited and, kind of get ready. Like I said, we're more than likely, we're not going to travel internationally, but hey, we got our passports, because that's one step closer. That just puts us one step closer. So do what you can with what you have where you're at. And I think that's important to remember, because yes, it's not ready. It's not time for us to go abroad yet, but hey, what can we do this year to get us that step closer to it? Well, first off, let's fill out that application, get our passport going. Let's keep putting that extra money into the savings. So now when it's time to come, hey, we're going to have a really good time because we have all this extra money saved up now.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yes.
I ask all my guests if they have a favorite Bible verse, a song, or a quote, something that inspires you and keeps you motivated.
Yes. Wow. Okay, my favorite Bible verse, it is actually my life verse. It is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. That is my go-to life verse. As far as my favorite song, this is a hard one because I love music and I love to dance. And I have so many favorite songs that get me going. Like my Spotify playlist is sick. But my go-to that I tell Alexa to play all the time, I say it often. I say her name. I'm not going to say it because I am in the room where she's at right now, but I will say her name and then say, play Beyonce. So Beyonce is my go-to. And I can't even say just one specific song because there's like 5 of her songs, but I'll just say my artist. And my quote that I actually have right above my desk that I look at right now, this is the one that gets me going. And it says, your dream is more powerful than your excuse. I read that often when I start feeling, yes, I have my crummy days. I read it and remind myself, no excuses. I have a dream and it is more powerful than the excuses that I can give.
Yeah, I really like that. Well, so thank you for sharing your experience and your knowledge on setting goals, and just giving us examples, also personal examples and business examples of how you've set goals and how you have accomplished them. How can we find you and how can we follow your journey?
Yes, you can go to my website. I have a website. It is yourjoyfulorder.com. That is the best way to connect with me. You can go to my blog through there. You can shop with me. I will also be posting my workshop schedule on there. I will be hosting workshops throughout this year. Actually, there will be a few opportunities that you can come and sign up for my goal setting workshop. And all of that will be on my website, yourjoyfulorder.com. You can connect with me on social media. Instagram is the best place. My Instagram handle is @joyfulorderstyle.
Cool. And I will have all that information in the show notes. So please go ahead and check out Leslie's social media and website and sign up for one of her workshops when they become available. You will not regret it. And thank you so much, Leslie, for being here.
Thank you, Anel.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode inspired you. If you like this podcast, please share on social media and tag me on Instagram @TheBraveandHer. I would love to hear your stories of bravery.